Walking by my room, I'm gonna read to you Proverbs chapter 1. But it's cold in here, so let me go shut a window. Hang on a second. Hey there, happy 420, it's Josh. I'm in Rutland. No, seriously, I'm in Rutland. Matt's getting a tooth pulled, and I had to drive him out here, because he's going to be all when he leaves, so. We took the sign out here, and while I'm here, I'm going to read to you Daniel chapter 5. King Belshazzar prepared a great banquet for 1,000 of his nobles, and he was drinking wine in front of them all. While under the influence of the wine, Belshazzar issued an order to bring in the gold and silver vessels, the ones that Nebuchadnezzar, his father, had confiscated from the temple in Jerusalem, so that the king and his nobles, together with his wives and his concubines, could drink from them. So they brought the gold and silver vessels that had been confiscated from the temple, the house of God in Jerusalem, and the king and his nobles, together with his wives and concubines, drank from them. As they drank wine, they praised the gods of gold and silver, bronze, iron, wood, and stone. At that very moment, the fingers of a human hand appeared and wrote on the plaster of the royal palace wall opposite the lampstand. The king was watching the back of the hand that was writing. Then all the color drained from the king's face, and he became alarmed. The joints of his hips gave way, and his knees began knocking together. The king called out loudly to summon the astrologers, wise men, and diviners. The king proclaimed to the wise men of Babylon that anyone who could read this inscription and disclose its interpretation would be clothed in purple, and have a golden collar placed on his neck, and be third ruler in the kingdom. So all the king's wise men came in, but they were unable to read the writing or to make known its interpretation to the king. Then King Belshazzar was very terrified, and he was visibly shaken. His nobles were completely dumbfounded. Due to the noise caused by the king and his nobles, the queen mother then entered the banquet room. She said, "O king, live forever. Don't be alarmed. Don't be shaken. There is a man in your kingdom who is within him a spirit of the holy God. In the days of your father he proved to have insight, discernment, and wisdom like that of the gods. King Nebuchadnezzar, your father, appointed him chief of the magicians, astrologers, wise men, and diviners. Thus there was found in this man Daniel, whom the king renamed Belteshazzar, an extraordinary gift, knowledge, and skill to interpret dreams, solve riddles, and decipher knotty problems. Now summon Daniel, and he will disclose the interpretation." So Daniel was brought in before the king. The king said to Daniel, "Are you that Daniel who was one of the captives of Judah, whom my father the king brought from Judah? I have heard about you, how there is a spirit of the gods in you, and how you have insight, discernment, and extraordinary wisdom. Now the wise men and astrologers were brought before me to read this writing and make known to me its interpretation, but they were unable to disclose the interpretation of the message. However, I have heard that you are able to provide interpretations and to decipher knotty problems. Now if you are able to read this writing and make known to me its interpretation, you will wear purple and have a golden collar around your neck and be third ruler in the kingdom." But Daniel replied to the king, "Keep your gifts and give your rewards to someone else. However, I will read the writing for the king and make known its interpretation. As for you, O king, the Most High God bestowed on your father Nebuchadnezzar a kingdom, greatness, honor, and majesty. Due to the greatness that he bestowed on him, all peoples, nations, and language groups were trembling with fear before him. He killed whom he wished, he spared whom he wished, he exalted whom he wished, and he brought low whom he wished. And when his mind became arrogant and his spirit filled with pride, he was deposed from his royal throne, and his honor was removed from him. He was driven from human society, his mind was changed to that of an animal. He lived with the wild donkeys. He was fed grass like oxen, and his body became damp with the dew of the sky, until he came to understand that the Most High God rules over human kingdoms, and he appoints them over them whomever he wishes. But you, his son Belshazzar, have not humbled yourself, although you knew all this. Instead, you have exalted yourself against the Lord of heaven. You brought before you the vessels from his temple, and you and your nobles, together with your wives and concubines, drank wine from them. You praised the gods of silver, bronze, iron, wood, and stone, gods that cannot see or hear or comprehend. But you have not glorified the God who has in his control your very breath and all your ways. Therefore the palm of a hand was sent from him, and this writing was inscribed. This is the writing that was inscribed, Mene, Mene, Tekel, and Pharsin. This is the interpretation of the words. As for Mene, God has numbered your kingdom's days and brought it to an end. As for Tekel, you are weighed on the balances and found to be lacking. As for Peres, your kingdom is divided and given over to the Medes and the Persians. Then on Belshazzar's orders, Daniel was clothed in purple, a golden collar was placed around his neck, and he was proclaimed third ruler in the kingdom. And in that very night, Belshazzar, the Babylonian king, was killed. So Darius the Mede took control of the kingdom, whom he was about 62 years old. I'm sorry, when he was about 62 years old. So yeah, I'm going to go in there and wait for Matt now, because I've been in here for a while. Yeah. And just prior to Memorial Day weekend, you're going to have to cut this part. Stay. Assuming the phone stays there, we're going to read... Oh, this is Josh. It is 9:05 a.m. Thursday, April 28, 2011. We are outside Country Village Nursing Home, where Kristen is here for her LNA class. Orientation. So I gotta sit here. And wait on that. But in the meantime, I'm going to read to you one of the prayer apps from my phone, and that's prayer. And behold, O kind, behold, O kind and most sweet Jesus, there before thy face I humbly kneel, and with the most fervent desire of soul, I pray and beseech thee to impress upon my heart lively sentiments of faith, hope, and charity, true contrition for my sins, and a firm purpose of amendment, with deep affection and a grief of soul. I ponder within myself, mentally contemplating thy 5 wounds, having before my eyes the words which David the prophet spoke concerning thee. They have pierced my hands and my feet, they have numbered all my bones. Cool. Amen.